What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Narakius over here at Narakius Gaming, and today I'm bringing you another special division video. Before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get right into it. Today I'm going to be bringing you some of the new patch notes on February 2nd for the new PTS3. If you guys are not aware, that is what they do before every DLC come out, so that way they can test it out and see any bugs or anything that they need to fix, and that's also how they find out what's overpowered and what's too low of a power. And they basically use that to balance out every gear, mods, weapon, etc. You name it, they try their best to do it. And today we're going to be reading off the new patch notes. So without further ado, this list is very extensively long, so let's get right into it without wasting any more time. And I'll also leave a link in the description below so you go check out the patch notes for yourself if you haven't seen it already. First thing on the list that we're going to be talking about is TTK. If you're not known what TTK is, that means time to kill a player, basically, okay? And people were complaining that it takes a little too long to kill a down agent. Well, they went in and they reworked that, okay? Here's what's happening now. Normally in a PvP situation, when you gun down a player, it takes them a while to kill them while they're on their knees. So now what they have done, they went in and reduced the downstate health from 50%. They do not say exactly how much they reduced it, but they also go on to say that players that are down will now be killed 2 times faster. All right, and the reason behind this change is to increase the long range battles. All right, people were saying that they were getting too much into in your face type of battles where they were basically right in each other's face trying to fight each other, and of course somebody would get gunned down, you know, while helping their friend get back on their feet. So to kind of prevent this, basically now if you get gunned down in a gunfight, I basically just have to shoot you from long range and I will kill you 2 times faster if you didn't die or fall on your knees behind cover. So now I think if you guys are going to get into a gunfight and you are about to go down, you might want to think about getting behind cover and getting as closest to your crew as possible, where now you will be killed 2 times faster. All right, and also not to forget, when you die, you usually respawn with 3 medkits. Now, after a death, you will spawn in with a total of the max, which is 5 medkits, which is good. That will save your time from going to restock and everything like that, unless you need ammo. Next on the list, they go on to talk about how they reduce skill proxies. Now, skill proxies, if you're not aware what skill proxies are exactly your support station, turret, and seeker mines to be exact. Let's talk about the turret as the demonstration. What I mean by that, have you guys ever shot a fire turret? It just takes magazine after magazine and sometimes another fucking magazine just to take out a damn flame turret. Well, in The Last Stand, they reduced the health on the support station, the turret, and also the seeker mine by 50%. So therefore, it will not take so long to take out a turret. It'll be like shooting a shock turret, okay? And I think those, well, they say turret, so shock turret, it's in that category. So everything has taken a 50% reduce. So the time to kill will not be as long as it was previously. So you will not be able to get focused. Next, we're going to talk about normalization. Normalization was something that they created to do and they tried out in the PTS2, which was something that happens to your gear that would max it out when you walk into to do the PvP domination mode. After testing and after looking of weeks of the PTS2, they decided to do some modifications. Now, if you're not aware what normalization did previously, I would just give you a quick brief of that. Basically what it did, if you had a chest piece and it was rolled at 1265, the max on the chest piece you can get for rolls is 1,272. So what it did, it took your mid-max gear and basically brought it up to the max level of that gear. All right, now with that being said, it also increased your armor damage from whatever it was to 70%. Now that's extremely high. Not to mention with running high skill power and running the damage resilience, it basically made you invincible, and it was hard as hell to kill players. It basically was gunfights all day long at some point, and people running high skill powers in the PTS2 was basically dominating the dark zone at all costs. So what they did with this, with the normalization, they reduced your set armor mitigation by 50%. So it went from 70% to 35%, okay? And also, your armor will now respect its talents and its skill buffs, okay? If you don't know what that means, basically a major and the minor bonuses are no longer normalized and applied as a normal gameplay. So also, not to forget, all weapon stats will now roll at max, such as headshot damage bonus on marksman rifles. So basically, if you didn't understand anything I just said right now, just to simplify it just a little bit, they basically increased the time to kill and made you hit a lot harder, and they reduced the armor. Okay, so because armor is basically what protects you, armor goes into your health, it plays a major factor, armor mitigation. So by reducing the armor mitigation and increasing the talents on your weapon, like they said, headshot damage. So if your headshot damage is only like 123, and let's say the bonus, the headshot damage comes at 200%, all your gun for that marksman rifle will be 200%. So that means you'll be dealing 200% more damage to the head when you hit your target in the head, and that will increase your chances of killing that person a whole lot faster. So they just reversed everything. Instead of going in there like a tank, they kind of made you even it out a little bit, like a little bit more squishy, where therefore if somebody is hitting hard, you would definitely feel that pain. All right, so that's basically it. If you guys want to see more about it, they go deep into detail. Trust me, the link is in the description. You go read it for yourself so you get a better understanding. Now let's go on and talk about the real juicy stuff. Let's talk about game changes. Now, before I dive right into the game changes, let me read off this particular part of the patch notes so you can get a better understanding of the changes inside of the game that they're basically made to PvP and PvE. Okay, it goes off to read: to avoid having to add extra health specific for last stand and maintain a 35% armor cap, we decided to tune the PvP damage modifier to achieve the desired time to kill. This change is going to help the survivabilities of players in the last stand and in the DZ. It will also make playing with your character in the out of last stand feel more consistent, no matter if you are playing normalized or not. Now, with that being said, let's go right into the game changes. First on the list, they go on to say they reduce PvP damage modifier by 21% from 0.58 to 0.46. Doesn't seem too bad to me. This applies to both Dark Zone and the Last Stand game mode. Okay, so this change right here is definitely for solo players. Basically what they're doing with this, instead of increasing the armor cap or just throwing a bunch of health at us, what they did, they toned down the damage output of players. Therefore, if you run across a group of 4 and you're by yourself and everybody's just shooting you, of course that's a lot of damage coming out of you. But if you have mid-max gear to max roll gear with high toughness, your survivability chance will be increased due to the fact they modified the damage output in PvP mode. Okay, so it's up to you. You probably want to fight them or you probably want to run. Either way, you'll have a higher % chance at survivability, which I'm not too mad at that, because I missed the 1.2 days when you could just roll up to an extraction and basically drop 4 people like no tomorrow. Those were the good old days. All right, now moving on. Next on the list, we've all been talking about medikit situation, how long it takes for medikits to come back, but they actually increased it in the PTS, and we was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? So after testing, and they also looked at it themselves, they said, you know what, they increased it to 15 seconds, and they said, nah, we're not gonna do that. It's taking way too long already, so let's just go ahead and initially put it back to its 12 seconds instead of 15 seconds. So no longer will it be 15 seconds for your medic packs, your medkit cooldowns. It will be 12 seconds, which is a good thing. I guess we're right back to square one. I thought they weren't gonna reduce it just a little bit tad. I would say give us 10 seconds of a medkit cooldown, but it is what it is. Running and reloading. I don't know what brought Massive and Ubisoft and Red Storm, whoever came up with this idea to take out, you will not be able to run and reload at the same time. When I heard that, I thought that was the most stupidest thing you can ever do. It's already tough as it is on us in the DZ. But unfortunately, that is not going to happen, which I'm so happy about. You will still be able to sprint and reload your weapon now. They were testing it out to see how it plays a factor, and actually it caused a little bit more chaos than they expected to. So they just said, nah, we're taking that out and we're going back to what it originally was. So yes, you will be able to sprint while running. And one of the last things on the list for game changes, if you guys wasn't looking at the PTS, man, damage resilience was crazy. If you guys were not aware of damage resilience, you were able to stack it on top of each other. There were people actually up there to almost 100%. There were people actually at 100% for damage resilience, which made them invincible, literally. So what they did, they was like, nah, that ain't gonna work. We're gonna actually cap that shit off because we don't want that taking over the dark zone. So all damage resilience has now been capped at 60%, which to my opinion doesn't seem like it's high. We'll just have to see when the DLC comes out and see how that plays a factor. I think it's a little too high, but we'll see what happens. Now, I'm not sure if I said this in the beginning of the video, but like I said, the list is very extensively long and they go into detail about a lot of other things, but I'm just gonna cover some of the main facts on the patch notes. All right, like I said, I'll leave a link in the description below. You can go and check out the entire patch note and read all the other stuff that I didn't cover. But as for right now, I'm gonna cover majority, like 75% to 80% of the patch notes. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna jump right in and talk about the pulse. The pulse has been reduced. It's taken a nerve type of buff. If you know, however you want to take it with a grain of salt. And let me go ahead and just say this. They go on to say, we noticed that the pulse could become very powerful with high skill power, especially with critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Bonuses apply to the whole group. So what they went on and did, they reduced the impact of skill power on critical hit damage. Tactical scanner, critical hit chance is increased by 20%. But the con about that, by getting that 20+%, your critical hit damage is reduced by negative 11%. All right, this doesn't seem too bad. Like they always say, you have to take the good with the bad, so we'll just have to see when this is released. But I don't think this is such a major problem that they reduced it by negative 11%, which in the fact that you can get critical hit damage on your weapons and other places at that. So we'll just have to see how that plays out. Next, first aid. A lot of people were complaining, saying that the first aid was not working. Okay, now the reason why first aid was a little bit broken for a lot of other players was due to the fact that they ran skill power. In 1.5, your skill power kind of plays a major factor. If you're running low skill powers, you basically take long to get every fucking thing back, and certain things just don't work as they should. So what they did for that, a lot of players do like to run that high DPS, high toughness, and just say, fuck my skill power, I'm gonna depend on my other teammate for that. So basically what they did for that, they increased your first aid. All right, self and ally heal has been increased by 15% on all your mods. The reduced impact of skill power on self and ally heal is also increased by 20% on all your mods. Now, this was one of the main factors that people were afraid of, that they was like, how is this going to affect me? And it has taken a nerf, and I'm kind of sad about this, and this is going to make a major change. Booster shot has been nerfed. Your damage mitigation bonus has been decreased from 50% to 15% to 7.5%. That is crazy. Okay, so if you guys didn't get that, damage mitigation bonus has been decreased by 50%, from 15% to 7.5%. That is a huge deduction right there, and I'm not too sure what to say about that until it comes out. Let's talk about the turret. Both the long range and the very high amount of health made the turret very potent and very toxic in the DZ, and just basically fucking annoying, especially the fire turret. The amount of range that the fire turret had was fucking ridiculous, and it was just so strong if people was running high skill power. It was ridiculous. So what they went on to do, they basically balanced the fucking turret out, and here's what happened. Base skill and active sensor range has been decreased from 35 meters, holy fuck, to 25 meters, that's pretty reasonable. Okay, but 35 meters, damn, that was long. All mods except the shock base health reduction has been by 25%, and all mod skill power impact on health reduced. So therefore, no more super fucking flaming turret, which I'm so happy about that, because that shit was fucking annoying, man. Now, one of the last things I'm gonna cover on the list, which is not the last thing exactly on the list, but like I said, I'm not gonna go through the entire list, but when I saw this, I was really happy, and I've been said they needed to do this. I don't know why they didn't do this in the beginning. your Phoenix credits. Your Phoenix credits is capped off at 2,000, but now we will be capped off at 5,000 Phoenix credits. And I'm just happy about that. You know how much shit we can buy with 5,000 Phoenix credits? Do you know how many things we can re-roll with 5,000 Phoenix credits? Yo, it's lit, alright? But that's basically what I'm going to cover on the PTS3 list. Like I said, I will leave a description in the link below. You can go check out the rest of the list for yourself. But I gave you a good amount of portion of the list. I'm talking about at least 75 to almost anywhere to 90% of this list. But other than that, you can go check out the bug fixes, the contamination events, and etc. Alright? But like I said, if you enjoyed this video and you found it very more than helpful, please leave a like, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. And it's your boy Rocket. I'm gonna see you when I see you. Peace.